Hello and back happy welcome Wednesday. Today we're going to be doing a rundown of Tinto Talks number 35, which details the very big top secret stuff from the upcoming Europa Universalis 5 game, which is sometimes called Project Caesar, which is correctly pronounced Project Kaiser, which we are going to pronounce Project Teaser. Hello everyone and welcome to another Tinto Talks. As it's a happy Wednesday, properly capitalized. Those at Tinto Talks, when they do it, which they didn't do it last week, they do it right, which is they capitalize the whole thing because it is in fact a holiday because it's a happy Wednesday. The day of the week where we spill information about our super mega fantastically secret game, including extra hyphens everywhere, spectacular, with the codename Project Caesar. Today we're going to talk about the three relatively related topics. Aren't everything relatively related? Okay, comment below. Relating to, oh my god, we went full circle. The three relations to country ranks, great powers, and hegemonies. You see that? Three relatives, three ranks, or three topics. But bam, we did it. Alright, so country ranks. There are four country ranks, four ranks that you can have in countries in Project Caesar. It is more similar to EU4 than Imperator in that changing country ranks is something you actively do on your own. Besides having various rules on what a country can do, they also give some benefits, and it's rather important, and rather importantly to the player experience, they impact what the countries are called, because everyone knows we all care about what things are called. It's all about having a really big title over the map that looks nice and clean. The code supports multiple types of ranks at the same level, so modders could in theory add dozens of variants of a duchy rank if they so desire. The default rank is the county rank, which looks suspiciously like country rank, but there's no R in there. It's county, which all countries default to, that is countries, not counties, unless it is set up to be something else. The first rank above that is the duchy rank, where you can now guarantee other countries, so we see some Diplo locked behind these power rankings, and a little bit higher diplomatic capacity and power projection. Sounds good. Countries that start on this level include the Duchy of Brittany and the Duchy of Lithuania. To be able to upgrade from a county to a duchy, that is not a country to a duchy, but a county to a duchy, you have to, first, you cannot be part of any international organization that disallow the rank changes. And so it'll be exciting to see what various flavor we see for international organizations. We've already seen some of them, where it's like international banking communities, trade leagues, like this type of stuff, which of course, we don't know whether or not they disallow upgrading of power ranks, but this is something to consider, and is also probably, if you're getting benefit from an international organization, one way to balance it is having to forcing the player or the country to forego the benefits from a higher rank change in order to make this an interesting decision point. That disallow rank changes, but you need at least 100,000 pops of your primary culture. And I really like this change because if I recall correctly, EU4's requirement is based on the number of states you own. Changing the requirement to be how many people you have, I think, is an excellent change, because having a bunch of states in the middle of the frigid north doesn't really make you that much more of an empire. I suppose it does to some extent, but I really think that the number of pops you have, or the population you have, is going to be a better metric. So insofar as this has changed, very excited to see it. The next rank above that is the kingdom rank, which requires 1 million pops of your primary culture. Again, primary requirement being the number of population. And also, this means over time we are going to see more countries that start out as counties. As global population grows, or we're assuming that it will grow over the course of the game, you will see more and more higher ranking countries. And this gives a larger diplomatic range and other abilities. I love diplomatic range as a mechanic. I think it's super sweet. This includes countries like the Kingdom of Sweden and the Sultanate of Delhi. The final rank, the Empire rank, which is the hardest to promote to, allows for a wide variety of diplomatic actions and other abilities. At the start of the game, there's only one empire in Europe, though, the Eastern Roman one. A country must become a great power before they are able to attain this rank, and there are special restrictions in Catholic countries, or for Catholic countries, countries, not counties, from pretending to be emperors without the Pope's permission. Pretending. The truth hurts, doesn't it? Okay, so we see the kingdom rank, and it's going to give a bunch of modifiers, and we can kind of see some of these. Power projection, possible amount of artists, an interesting modifier considering we haven't seen artists discussed at all yet. Diplomatic range, diplomatic capacity, maximum diplomats, of which we can spend a portion of a diplomat in order to engage and hold certain diplomatic actions, as we kind of discovered in one of the more recent dev diaries. Great power score, except from forfeit. That makes sense. Can sign alliance, can guarantee, can support rebels, can threaten war, possible rivals, 3. And so this is what we will be seeing from the kingdom rank. Now, here's the great power system, and I actually, there's a lot of times it comes up when we're doing these, because the main game we focus on here is Victoria 3 on this channel, where we're like, man, this seems so much better than the Victoria 3 system. I actually kind of like the Victoria 3 system more than how great powers are proposed here, but let's kind of jump into it and then talk about it a little bit. A great power is a country that, through advances, population, land area, development, and other factors, has risen to be one of the most powerful countries in the world. So, whatever great power score is kind of analogous to prestige, although I think we could see prestige improved in Victoria 3. The idea is you have a score that's based on a variety of factors, and as such gains the ability to influence other countries simply by throwing its weight around. The countries with the highest great power score become great powers. Subjects and countries fighting for their independence may not become great powers. Currently, there are always 8 different countries that are great powers, and this is the thing that I'm not so much a fan of, because it seems relatively... I think Victoria 3's system is much better, where it is a matter of proportionate to who's the highest rank. You can have more or fewer great powers. And what I mean by this is the way Victoria 3 does it is you will have a prestige score, right? And if you are within a certain percentage of the prestige of the top score, you will be a great power. And if you are a certain percentage of the average, you will also be a great power. There's 2 ways to rank up, and you have to be one of the 2. And it picks whatever the lowest one is. So, with this system, if you have 10 powers that are all equal or very close to equal in power, and they are the very strongest, you'll have 10 great powers, right? It doesn't really make sense if one person's 1% behind and is power rank 9, and they're just 1% behind power rank 8, that they would not be in the same ranking category as the 8th person. Similarly, if you have 15x the next person's prestige, then you're kind of the grand overlord, and the next person, it's possible that you should just only have 1 great power. All the rest, not so great. And so I really like the dynamic system of Victoria 3, which, although I think it should be balanced in a little bit of a different way, and I maybe think that there should be another rank above great power, but as it stands in Victoria 3 specifically, I think that the system being dynamic allows for better overall outcomes. Now, maybe this isn't fair, because we have in Europa Universalis 5, Project Caesar, we have regions, and regionally it might be hard to balance, where you have someone like the Yuan dynasty that is triple the rank 4 rank of the Golden Horde, and so maybe there would have to be some sort of regional qualifier to allow for a dynamic number, but I think that just having a flat 8 that is unmoving and this type of thing, I think that this feels arbitrary and gamey, and I would rather have a system that dynamically updates. Also, I kind of like the system where if you are really, really big and really, really strong, you can force everyone else out from being kind of the power rank. Although I think that this should be hard to achieve, I prefer Victoria 3's dynamic system in terms of the number of countries that can be great powers. But this is not a design we are 100% satisfied with. I might actually log on to my Paradox account. I don't think I've really commented very much at all. I think I have 1 comment in total that I've ever given. I might leave feedback on this, because I would love to see it dynamically update rather than just be 8 different flat countries that are great powers. Also, if you reduce the world to like 9 different countries, and like there's 3 big ones and the rest of the 5 are just like 1 province minors, it doesn't make sense that those OPMs are like great powers. We have been talking about making the amount variable per age, or by using a threshold. Would prefer a threshold. We've also talked about mechanics for regional powers, threshold / regional thing. I think would be fantastic. But all the designs so far have some severe drawbacks. For example, how would we define geographical area to make it feel good? Which is fair enough. We see the great power of the Japanese shogunate, which is giving extra power projection, diplo capacity, monthly diplomats, and can enforce peace. There are some advantages after all. True. True if big, big if true. Hegemony is kind of the rank that would maybe be above great power. In Victoria 3, I would be excited to see that, but here we see this is going to be a different modifier. This is another feature that was introduced in Emperor for DLC for EU4, but will be here as part of the base game. In that game, it was a late game mechanic that would pit the most dominant countries against each other. This created a mechanic that most people never saw, and if they saw it in single player, it was merely a tool that make the player even more powerful when they had already won the game. In this game, however, contrasting, where we're more handsome, the hegemony mechanics unlock through an advance in the Age of Discovery. We currently have 3 types of hegemony: military, navy, and economic. In the game, similar to EU4, which is definitely not EU5, guys, except it is, similar to EU4, and you can only be one type of hegemony at the same time. We could be open to maybe making a cultural hegemony as well, as the next few weeks of Tinto talks will show some things about cultural related systems. I would love this. I often go for like culture of victory type stuff when it is potential in games. And I often wish games had more of a cultural thing, instead of just like raw military. I don't really like fighting wars too often, and so I would love to see a change like this. To proclaim a hegemony, you need to be a great power, and you need to have a bigger army, navy, or economy than all the other great powers. So you got to be the biggest, baddest in your specific sphere. After you proclaim it, you get a bonus where most of it scales with how long you've held the hegemony. In a game where casus belli is not always easy to get, the fact that you can always create a casus belli on any hegemony, if you are not one yourself, can be beneficial. If you ever lose a war as a hegemon, you will lose your hegemony. And remember, I hope I'm pronouncing hegemony right, to be fair. And remember, if you lose your hegemony, your prestige and diplomatic reputation will suffer, which of course makes sense. And we see military hegemon, which is giving bonuses. Monthly war exhaustion is minus. Of course, if you're going to style on everyone, you definitely would be more okay with the styling. War score cost minus 10%. That seems really good. Counter espionage plus 10%. Scaling with power. Minus army attrition, plus army movement, plus great power score. That seems quite strong. And if we're kind of relativizing the great power score, plus 100 is quite a big number relative to what looks like these scores at the start date. But I'm guessing that this is not very much once you start getting really big. I'm not really sure. We saw that Kingdom gave plus 200 score on its own. So if you are a Kingdom and a Hegemon, you could have plus 300, which is half of what you need to be in the great power slot, or quite over half, 60%, considering the Mamluks at 509 are currently in the great power slot. So we also see siege ability plus 10%. So these do seem like strong modifiers. They seems like I don't know if these were the types of modifiers that they were trying to get away from EU4, or the modifier stacking type of feel of EU4, but that's something that we're maybe going to need to see in a bigger picture type of thing. But this does seem like a strong mechanic. This one is a fun kind to have, except we'd probably rather go economic. Stay tuned, as next week we will wish you a very happy Wednesday, and we will do the first development diary about our new cultural mechanics in Project Teaser, which I am very excited for. I definitely like, culture as a theme. I really enjoy the Morgan wrote mod, for example, for Victoria 3, other than it really crushes performance and you can't go deep into the tank. But I think that that'll be it for this dev diary. Was a little bit interesting to see power ranks. Probably going to come in and comment here about what we think. And so, yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, subscribe, do the YouTube algorithm thing. And other than that, have a happy Wednesday.